Hello everybody, today we're going to start day, I believe, 8 of our unit. So this unit was on equations and inequalities. Now we're going to go into compound inequalities. Okay, that basically just means you're going to do like 2 inequalities within one problem. That's all it is. So the work is the same as multi-step, it's just twice as much work, not more difficult, if that makes sense. Let's get started, shall we? This button, that's what I need to hit. So vocab. A compound inequality are 2 inequalities joined together either by the word and or the word or. Okay, so normally with an inequality, we have to follow one rule, like x is greater than 4. So that means it's all the numbers that are greater than 4. For compound inequalities, there are 2 rules, and we use the word and or to tell us how we have to follow those rules. So does it have to follow both or just one or the other? Okay? Some examples of compound inequalities. I'm going to move this over here. Yeah, that'll do. Some examples of compound inequalities are this. So 2x is less than 4 or 2x is greater than -2. You would solve for x like normal for both of them. It's just that when you get to your answer, it needs to be either following one of these inequalities rules or the other one to be a solution. Another one would be x plus 4 is greater than -7 and 3x is less than 9. Again, solve for x on both of these, and with the word and, you have to follow both rules in order to be a solution. Okay? Now, solving why is this so big? Let's put it down here. That way I just keep track of time. Solving compound inequalities is just like solving a single inequality. Okay? You need to solve each inequality, that's the word you should write down, separately, and then use the same word in the answer, either and or. Sorry, this isn't really matching up to your notes very well, but make it work. The next one, if there is no word in the compound inequality, like our last example that I'm going to show you, we can start solving in the middle and do the inverse operations to both the left and right side of the inequality. Okay, it's very, very wordy, and it will make sense when we do that problem. Okay, let's go do an example, shall we? Solve the compound inequality, graph it, write it in set builder notation. Here's the compound inequality. So, because it's the word or, we have 2 separate inequalities. So we just solve each one. So here, to get v by itself, I'm going to add 6 to both sides. I end up getting v is greater than or equal to -3. I didn't flip the sign because I didn't divide or multiply by a negative number. Over here, I need to get rid of the 7, so I divide both sides by +7, which means I'm not flipping the sign. So I get v is less than -4. Okay? And then I just pop the word or in there, and I'm good to go. Now for graphing, I'm going to graph both of these on the same number line. Okay? So, with or statements, you should always have 2 graphs, okay? There are those special cases where it kind of looks weird, and I'll discuss those in class, but right now, we're just going to go ahead and graph them. So v is greater than or equal to -3. That means on -3, I'm going to have a closed circle and point to everything bigger than it. Or v is less than -4, I'm going to have an open circle on -4 and point to everything smaller than it. So that's my graph of a compound inequality, going in 2 separate directions. Set builder notation, not that much different. I just go ahead and do like the V line and then write what I got. Okay? Any questions? No? Cool. Moving on. Alright. Example 2. This one. It says to write in interval notation. Ignore that. We're going to write it in set builder notation. Where's the thing? Where's the actual question? That's weird. I don't know what happened to the question. That is so weird. Anyway, your question was, let's see if I can write it. Sorry. We had -1 is less than a over 9, which is less than 0. Okay, now because there is no word here, and it's just like two inequalities mushed into one, I know this is an and statement. So this is an and compound inequality. Okay? There's two ways I could solve it. I could go ahead and split it into two separate inequalities. So what I do is kind of like I cover up this half and write this inequality down. -1 is less than a over 9. And then I cover up this half and I write down this part, a over 9 is less than 0. And I just put the word and in there. Okay? Then I can go ahead and solve it like normal. So both sides I'm going to multiply by 9. And on this side I get, oh, where is everything? I get -9 is less than a. Over here I multiply both sides by, I get -9 is less than a. Okay, and over here I multiply both sides by 9 and I get a is less than 0. Because 9 times 0 does nothing. Okay? So, oh wait, is it right here? No, something happened here, guys. I don't know what happened. Now, I could either leave it like that with the word and in it, or I can smush it all back together and just like double up on these a's, like make it into one a in the middle, like here, and put the -9 in the front, the 0 in the back. Okay? So like this part, there's a thingy here. This part covers this inequality, and this part covers this inequality. So I have them both, and I don't need to write the word and. But if you give it to me with the word and, that's fine. Now, on a number, on a number line, because it's a word and, it needs to satisfy both. It needs to be both greater than -9 and smaller than 0. So and statements create one line. So because I'm greater than -9, I'm going to have an open circle pointing to everything bigger than it, but I still have to be smaller than 0. Why is that? This should be an open circle. These notes are not great. And it's pointing to everything. So what I'm talking about is I'm talking about all the numbers in between -9 and 0 are my solution. So that's why it creates one line. Okay? Set builder notation, depending on how you wrote it, you could either write it as a smushed one or with the word and it works totally fine. Okay? Now, you guys have 2 try on your owns, I believe? Yeah. Honors, again, don't worry about interval notation. You have no idea what it is. I'm going to show it to you in another unit. So, go ahead and solve these. On your paper, you have to solve the graph it and write it in step builder notation. And same thing here, don't worry about interval notation, just solve and write it in step builder. Okay? That's it for the video. If you guys have questions, which because this video was not my greatest, I expect you do, please write them down. We'll go over it next class. No worries. We will have tons of practice on this. Okay? But I will see you next time. Bye.